It's a film that's been called actor Rani Mukerji's best performance ever, and it is based on a dramatic real life story. I'm Barkha Dutt, here with the Mojo story. Today, we'll be looking at Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway. For some of us who are old enough to remember, this is a movie that is based on a dramatic real life story. A mother's fight for justice, a mother's fight against another country, quite literally, for the custody of her children. This real life story has now become the basis for Nikhil Advani's new movie, Mrs. Chatterjee Vs Norway, where Rani Mukerji essays the part of Sagarika, the mother who took on an entire nation and pretty much risked everything that she had to regain the custody of her two small children. Child services in Norway at the time had claimed that Sagarika was guilty of not treating her children per the law of Norway. The cultural collision actually saw politicians across party lines in India unite and back Sagarika's fight. Rani Mukerji now captures that fight in this powerful new film that, as I said, is being called Rani Mukerji's best performance ever. On this very special conversation, we bring life and art together. On your screen, you see the two women interconnected by a story that is so powerful and so universal that almost everybody can relate to it. Rani Mukerji is with us, as also is Sagarika Chakrabarti. Sagarika, of course, is the real life story that inspired Mrs. Chatterjee versus Norway, and Nikhil, who of course produced this and put it all together, is with us as well. I've had the occasion to see a preview. It's extremely powerful, and as I said, the fact that it all actually happened makes it that much more powerful. So welcome everybody to the program. And let me start actually, if it's okay with Rani and Nikhil, by giving the first sort of right of response to Sagarika, because this is her life. And I want to start with you, Sagarika. You watched the movie, you cried. This was your life. Today, your children are with you. You had to give up a lot along the way. I don't want to give away the entire story of your life and therefore the entire story of the movie. But your thoughts when you saw Rani playing you, and what's interesting is that both of you physically met for the first time earlier today. You never actually met before, and now you're talking for the first time on this program. So that's very special for me. Sagarika, your first thoughts.
First of all, I am actually very much emotionally related with this movie, and this movie is really an inspirational movie, and that woman who is fighting against all the odds, and when a real life star who is meeting with the like celebrity like Rani Mukherjee, so you can understand that what was happening in my mind. So it's such kind of a inspirational, and so many things are mixing with me, and I am getting very much excited on that moment. So I don't know.
एक साइड तो सेलिब्रिटी हुई, पिक्चर हुई, पर ये तो आपकी जिंदगी है सागरिका, ये आपकी जिंदगी है। ये जो तस्वीरें हम देख रहे हैं, ये आपके बच्चों की तस्वीरें हैं जो आपसे छीन लिए गए थे। तो उसके बारे में, पिक्चर तो बाद में आई, पहले तो आपकी लड़ाई आई ना।
हाँ, वो तो है। एक्चुअली लड़ाई तो मैंने किया था, बट सबसे बड़ी बात है कि जो लड़ाई मैंने लड़ा था, उसके ऊपर पहले मैंने सोचा कि एक बुक लिखना बहुत ज़रूरी है। So actually, I wrote this book, The Journey of a Mother, and after that, the movie will be releasing based on this story, actually, real life story, actually, based on the journey of a mother. So actually, this is the main thing.
Yeah, so, and I want our audience to understand more later about what you went through. But Rani, for you playing this part, I was reading in another interview that you define your life as one before and after you were a parent. I'm talking about your real life, right? So coming into this movie, being an actual parent, being a mother, did that sort of filter how you processed Sagarika's ordeal?
I think Sagarika's ordeal or what she went through or her pain is something that as a parent I cannot fathom, because as me being a mom, I can't place Adira in that situation. I can't place myself in that situation. So to ease my emotional journey, I actually tapped into my mom, because my mother is somebody who is a Bengali, raised in Bengal. And being a Bengali for 50 years, she's been in Bombay, but she still sounds and speaks like a Bengali. Whether when she's talking in Hindi or English, you will see a lot of Bengali in her, and she's a quintessentially a Bengali mom. So I kind of channeled my emotion thinking that what if somebody took me and my brother away from my mom? How would she be? So I actually channeled this performance um, through my mom's emotions, through my mom. Because as a mother, I don't think I had the courage to even put myself there as what actually Sagarika went through in her life, because it's just too painful. It's just the thought of somebody taking your child away for even 10 minutes without your knowledge. Like, our children go to school, but we know that they're in a surrounding where we are comfortable. So they go for those 7, 8 hours, and we are like, okay with that. But to think that your child is taken away from you to a place where you don't know what's happening with your children, it's just, for a normal parent, it's something that you can't even think of.
Yeah.
So for me, it was very shocking when I heard the story for the first time. And it's very sad that when this when the story actually came out in India, and when a lot of media channels carried the story, I think I was deep neck in shooting, and I was, busy, and maybe as an ignorant citizen, this a story was something that I did not know about at all. So when it hit the news in India, I never heard of this news. So the first time I got to know about this story was when Nikhil called me and told me that, Rani, I'm doing a film on a real life incident, and this is the story about an immigrant mom living in Norway. Her children were taken away by the child welfare authority on basis or grounds of feeding my hand, sleeping on the same bed, applying kala tika for cultural differences. And it blew my mind, and I was like, this can't be true. And I really thought that Nikhil was trying to sell the film to me, or sell the story. And I actually Googled this whole story, and I actually went and saw so many news articles, not only in like the Indian news channels, but it was BBC that carried the news. There were so many other channels and newspapers that carried the news. And I was actually in disbelief that something like this can actually happen to a mother. So I was instantly connected, because obviously I was a mom. And like, it's just beyond my understanding that something like that can happen to somebody. And for me to be able to go into Sagarika's mind is pretty difficult, because only Sagarika, I think, knows and understands the pain that she went through, the separation anxiety that she went through, the
Yeah.
the amount of like insults that she must have had to go through at that point of time, or the amount of fear and anxiety to actually think that nobody's standing by her, and she has to fight this battle all by herself. And it's not a battle which is a normal battle that we women fight every day of our lives. It is a battle to win back your children from a country which is not even yours. You're not even a first citizen of that country. So I can't even imagine what she must have gone through in that period. So for me, it was a huge responsibility to play the character, to play Sagarika, and to bring about her pathos, her angst, her sadness, her pain,
Yeah.
so to speak. And it was a huge responsibility, because like me, there are a lot of people who don't know about this story. So some of the people who know about the story kind of relate with the story and tell me that, Rani, we've heard about this at so and so time when it happened. But there are some people who are oblivious of the fact that this actually happened. So for
Yeah.
them, it's an eye opener. So I'm just hoping that a conversation with you, and fact that the film is releasing next week, a lot of people see the film, because it'll also raise an awareness towards this issue, which is a problem which is an ongoing problem. Uh,
I
outside.
I remember it's so interesting that you say that you weren't aware of it. I remember, of course, as a journalist reporting the story, talking to Sagarika at that time. But Rani, let me ask you this: you and Sagarika met face to face for the first time just a few hours before this conversation. That How was that? Because I'm sure the validation that you needed the most, not that you need validation at this point in your life, but that's that moment there, Karan Johar in conversation with you, and it's at the screening that Sagarika and you come face to face, and there is that moment actually taking place. And I'm just wondering for you, Rani, more than anybody else, you needed Sagarika to find you plausible, real,
Absolutely.
relatable. So
Absolutely.
talk a little bit about why did you consciously avoid meeting face to face till you played the part? How much of Sagarika did you borrow from conversations with her? Like what was that meeting? This meeting that we're seeing on our screen for the very first time, Rani. What was that like?
Yeah, so I consciously decided not to kind of interact with her before the film started, because I truly believe that I wanted to give Debika Chatterjee's character a life of her own, because I wanted every woman to resonate with what Debika feels. If I tried to emulate Sagarika, or if I tried to be like Sagarika, I thought that there would be too many comparisons. So I didn't want that to happen, because Sagarika is very much with us, and in our midst. And I knew that closer to the release of the film, or during the film, she's going to be doing a lot of interviews, and she's going to be there in the public domain. So I didn't want any comparisons, so to speak. So I wanted to make Devika my own interpretation of what I thought in the story of Devika, like, what we have made in the 2 hour film. I wanted to give Devika her own take, and her own journey I wanted to create, because I felt that it would not be right that I try and ape somebody, because then I felt that maybe my emotions might not come out as real as it should be.
Yeah.
Because if you try and be somebody else, like, the emotions can get a little methodical, or it can look a little worked on, which I didn't want. And I wanted to feel it completely from my heart as a mother, and I wanted to completely make it my own. So that when I'm reacting to a particular scene, I want to believe that it is my journey. So I am Devika, and I am going through this journey. I didn't want to put another person's perspective, because it would always have to be me trying to be like Sagarika,
Yeah.
which I didn't want. So that
Yeah.
was my conscious decision, that I didn't want to be like her in the film. But because I am a Bengali myself, and I'm surrounded by Bengali mothers all the time, whether it's my aunts, my cousins, my mom, who is a huge influence in my life, who I've seen while, growing up. So as I said, that she's been in Bombay for like 50 years. She's been married to my dad for 50 years, but she still sounds like a true Bengali. So you can't take the Bengali out of her. So that's what I wanted to, like, she was my closest
Reference
ally.
point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because for me, I wanted to be Krishna in a way. Krishna is my mom's name, and I wanted to channel her, because that's what I've seen as child, like in my childhood. That's my memory of my mom, the
Yeah.
way she was, like a tigress, protecting me and my brother, always there, and always with a smile. But there was that um like that strength that she always had. Like, she was a go getter. I've never seen my mom cry till my dad expired 4 years back. But I've never seen my mom weep. I've never seen my mom cry. So for me, she has always been a source of strength and inspiration, and I channeled her through this role to
Very
make it
interesting.
very
Yeah, it's
authentic.
very interesting because, as you said, the person you're playing is right there. It's not she's right there on this program. She's right there out in the world. So I can see why you needed another reference point. But Nikhil, my question now is for you.
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
Yeah.
when you see my character, you'll see a lot of Sagarika as well, because all Bengali moms are the same.
Well, some might say that there's a universality to what a mother would do in this
Yes,
situation,
absolutely.
and
So it's
that's
whether
actually what, yeah, irrespective of where you're
exactly
from.
every mother, every parent, every dad, every son, every
Yeah.
daughter, everybody is going to feel that, and anybody who's gone through a sense of loss in their life, they are going to connect to the loss.
Yeah. I just want to bring in Nikhil now. Nikhil, this story, like I said, like I remember reporting on it. I remember interviewing Sagrika then. I also remember that it was a strange moment when you had, and I think we have that old footage, you had women in particular, politicians from all sides of the trenches. It could be a Sushma Swaraj, a Brinda Karat. They were all there. They were all there out on the streets saying, we're not going to let this happen. But to you as a producer, to you as a filmmaker, what was it about this story so many years later that you wanted to bring this to celluloid?
Barkha, I feel that over the last couple of years and whatever the whole concept of patriotism has become so skewed, right? In the sense that what is considered to be Indian and what is considered to be a real Indian, etc., etc. For me, I feel that I mean this is a mother who's saying that this is हाथ से खिलाना मेरी माँ कहती है कि अमृत माँ के उंगलियों में होती है. That's a cultural this thing, right? I found it extremely. I got very angry that here is somebody, the arrogance with which the West can turn around and say, you don't know how to raise your children. This is a wrong way to raise your children. I mean, that's phenomenally. I mean, and to be able to just, you've seen the film Barkha. They came in, they picked up the children after 10 weeks of harassing this immigrant family. And so somewhere or the other, really at the end of the day, it's legalized child trafficking. Honestly speaking, is completely legalized child trafficking, right? You have a child services agency that is getting paid a lot of money from a government that is basically incentivizing them to pick up children of immigrants because they can pick up children of immigrants because immigrants are so scared in the West, right? I mean, honestly, we will cross the road in Delhi and Mumbai and Bombay. We just cross the road. But in London or in Paris or in New York, we'll wait for the green man to come in this thing and then we will cross. We are so scared, right? And here is a family that has left everything from in Bordhaman and moved to Norway, right? For me, a very big part of the film is Anirban Bhattacharya's character, the husband, who keeps saying that, listen, they're giving you lawyers. This is the system. Why are you not understanding? The children will be looked after well. Don't do anything to this thing, my citizenship. It's incredible. So that is the one thought that here a child services agency is taking that and taking advantage of that and has created some kind of it's really legalized, completely legalized child trafficking.
And you talk about the husband and the role of the husband, and I want to just bring in Sagrika, because Sagrika, to be reunited with your children, आपको बहुत कुछ खोना पड़ा, and I think that is in a way what Rani is talking about, the universal emotion of being a parent, that to get your children you will lose anything. It could also include your marriage, and because this is based on a real life story which is already in public domain, I'm not really this is not a spoiler alert, this is Sagrika's own life. सागरिका, मैं अपने दर्शकों को बताना चाहती हूँ कि आज आप सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपिंग में काम करती हैं, दिल्ली के बाहर यूपी में, नोएडा में रहती हैं. आपके बच्चे आज भी, that is the irony, इतना लड़ झगड़ के as a single mom, your children are being brought up by your parents, as we were talking. Your husband didn't in the end stand by you. वो नहीं खड़े हुए आपके साथ. तो कैसे आप लड़ी अकेले, बिल्कुल अकेले in a way?
Actually, I know that it's a huge responsibility as a single mother, and मैं यही सोचा कि मुझे लड़ना पड़ेगा. There will be no option actually. So इसीलिए मैंने पढ़ाई किया. I completed my masters in software engineering, and after that मैं पूरा कैरियर के पीछे मैंने कंसंट्रेट किया. And after that मैंने यही सोचा कि जो होगा, this is a past life, so we cannot resolve all these things. Actually मैंने वही सोचा कि जो मैं कर पाऊंगी, तो मैंने कोशिश किया था. I'm just contact with my husband on that time, but he don't want to keep any kinds of a relationship with me and my children. So I think that all are in vain actually. So मैंने वही सोचा कि मुझे पहले मेरे बच्चे के बारे में सोचना बहुत जरूरी है. तो फिनेंशियली मुझे फिनेंशियल एबिलिटी रहना बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो इसीलिए मैंने पहले मेरे करियर के पीछे मैंने गया। तो आफ्टर दैट where I am getting a good job, and after that I thought that I should be written some books like The Journey of a Mother, where I am just portraying all my struggles and everything. And सबसे बड़ी बात है मैं यही बोलूँगी कि रानी मैम ने जैसे ये किरदार उन्होंने निभाया, सबसे बड़ी बात है वो एक बंगाली मॉम है और बंगाली का जो इमोशन है ना, वो रानी मैम वो सही से दिखाया और सबसे बड़ी बात है, मैंने जब छोटी थी बट मतलब जब उस टाइम मैंने कुछ होता है देखा था, तो मेरा फेवरेट एक्ट्रेस था उन्होंने। और सबसे बड़ी बात है, एक फेवरेट एक्ट्रेस होने के नाते उन्होंने मेरा फ़िल्म ही कर रहा है और जो मैंने लिखा है उसके ऊपर ही उन्होंने फ़िल्म किया है। तो सबसे
नहीं,
बड़ी बात है
ये तो बहुत बड़ी बात है।
चीज़ है
मैं
और
रानी
इतना
जी
अच्छे से उन्होंने पोर्ट्रेट किया।
जी,
तो
बिल्कुल। मैं अभी रानी जी के पास जाने वाली हूँ, लेकिन आपसे मेरा एक छोटा-सा और सवाल है। आपने कहा कि फादर नहीं खड़े हुए आपके साथ, तो
हाँ।
बच्चों इस पूरी लड़ाई के बाद आपके बच्चों को उनके फादर का प्यार नहीं मिल पाया।
हाँ।
तो
तो हाँ, हाँ।
नहीं, तो आपकी ज़िंदगी में एक तरह से लड़ाई अभी भी चल ही रही है। लड़ाई खत्म नहीं हुई। The battle to be a single parent, a single mom is ongoing.
It's ongoing. After that, hopefully I will seek the divorce or anything, whatever the legal battle. So मैंने कोशिश किया था, बट हर चीज़ तो लाइफ में सब कुछ सही नहीं होता है। जो लोग सोचता है कि वो उसको मिलता नहीं है, यही बात है।
आप अपनी बहादुरी को अंडरस्टेट कर रही हैं। आपने पढ़ाई की, अपने आप को इकोनॉमिकली इंडिपेंडेंट बनाया, ये बहुत बड़ी चीज है। ये रिकॉग्नाइज होनी चाहिए। रानी, मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी, मदर्स आर जज्ड। हर इंसान को ओपिनियन होती है ऑन व्हाट काइंड ऑफ मदर a woman makes. Is film, yeah, one should be, and at the heart of this film, yes, there is a cultural collision. I agree with Nikhil. There's a kind of Western, almost a kind of imperialism कि हम सिखाएंगे आपको कि बच्चों की परवरिश कैसे होती है, which is abhorrent, it's racist. But even in all contexts, there are judgments of women made all the time. There's guilt tripping, as you depict in the film. Yeah, I want you to talk a little bit about that, how you channeled that sort of thought of being this strong woman, but not always an economically independent. In Sagarika's life, she had to, that came later for her. And everyone's judging you. People are calling you emotionally, mentally unstable. Not you, I mean the character. Talk a little bit about that, the utter and total judgment of women at all times, especially evaluating them always as mothers.
I think, the bottom line to this answer would be that every mother knows how to raise her child. That is the bottom line. Like, I will know what is best for my child. Like, there is a very common saying in Bengali, which I think Sagarika would have heard. Maer theke beshi dorod mashir. Basically, what the line says is that, when there is somebody who's trying to feel more for your child than you yourself, so we say that माँ से भी ज़्यादा दर्द मासी को मतलब हो रहा है. Which is not true, because माँ को ज़्यादा ही दर्द होगा. मतलब माँ हर हाल में अपने बच्चे की जो अपने बच्चे के लिए उसको करना है, वो एक माँ ही जानती है कि उसके बच्चे को क्या चाहिए और उसके बच्चे को क्या करना चाहिए. Even to the extent, if I go to say, is that when we are raised by our mothers, when we have children, we don't want to raise our children the way our mothers have raised us.
Yeah.
Because there has already been a generation gap there. So we are also, raising our children in a different environment. We are too very different from when we were kids. So whether it is in the eating habits, whether it is in the way we bring them up, the way we talk to our children, the way we discipline them, it's very different. So from one generation to the other generation, there is a shift. So imagine if another country is telling you how to raise your children, that's another shocker.
Yeah.
So it's like with every generation, there's a generation shift in the way you want to raise your children. and only a mother will know what is best for her child. Like today, there might be a mother who might not allow her child to have sweets till a certain age. But the same time, there is another mother who might be giving her child lots of sweets to eat, because there is a difference of opinion between mothers, and mothers know what is best for their child. So I don't think that judging a mother is correct, because I might think that what the other mother is doing to a child might not be correct. But who are we to judge? And I know that today because I'm raising my own daughter.
Do
So
you
I know
feel
what's
judged?
best for the child.
Do you feel, because you live in the public
They
eye, do you feel
dare,
judged?
they dare judge me because I will give it back.
Good for
So
you.
yes, yes, absolutely. Because for me, I know exactly what I'm doing for my child, and I know in my heart what is best for my child and what I need to do for Adira, because I'm connected with her.
Yeah.
Though my umbilical cord is cut, but I am connected to my child. I know exactly when she's in pain. I know exactly when she is wanting to say something to me. I exactly know why she's throwing a tantrum, and I know how to handle her. Maybe my mother doesn't know how to handle my child, because obviously she knows how to handle me because I am her child. But I will not even take my mother's opinion at that time, because I know what's best for my child. So it's always mothers are just too like there is a natural instinct that comes into us the minute this flesh and blood comes out of our stomach. It's out there. There
Yeah.
is a shift in our brain. A girl transforms into a mother immediately. There is a natural instinct that just takes over our life, and we suddenly start believing that, oh my god, I don't
Mhm.
love myself the way I used to just few minutes back. I've suddenly loved somebody else more than myself, and that's not even practical, because as a human being you love
Yeah.
yourself first,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
suddenly the emotion shifts, and you're like, oh my god, wait here, what I thought was love is not actually love. This is the true love. This is what what you feel. Um you can't express this like emotion.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a completely different person today. I feel I've become a better human being since the time I become a mom. I've become more patient. Like I want to listen more. Like
Mhm.
there's a huge shift.
I was going to ask you that how you've changed, and I'll maybe close our conversation with that. I just want to bring Nikhil in. Nikhil, you mentioned child trafficking, kind of legalized child trafficking. What is for you at the heart of this story? Is it, as Rani and Sagarika are speaking about, a mother's capacity to channel the kind of strength that she herself may not be aware that she has? Is it privileging her child over and above everything else, even if it means losing her marriage, as Sagarika did in real life? Is this about racism? Is this about cultural clashes? How have the Norwegians responded to this movie, if at all?
Funnily, I mean, even Karan asked me this question about how the Norwegians. So we, as producers, when we read the script and we said that there's no way on earth that we are going to be allowed to shoot in Norway, so we choose to shoot the film in Estonia. But when we announced that we are going to Estonia, because it is just the lockdown opened up, and we were one of the first films to actually one of the first units to take off and go to Europe to shoot this film. And the Norwegian High Commission wrote a message to us and said, "Hey, why are you not coming to Norway to shoot?" And we said, "Ha, I mean, what does that mean?" So they said, "Listen, we understand that this is something that happened and it's a tragic tragedy, and we're trying to make some amendments, and we know that you will show both sides of the story, but please do consider coming over here." By which time we had already made all our arrangements in Estonia, so we chose to shoot there. So what at the heart, I think at the heart of I mean, simply it is the fight of a mother fighting for justice. I think that is at the heart of the film. But it is so layered, like you just said, that there is a judgment of a woman, right from the time that the Norwegian legal system considers this Bengali immigrant mother who basically speaks with a funny accent, who can't speak English in complete sentences. They consider her to be uneducated. There's a lovely line where Jim Sarab's character says that, do you even know that she's a bachelor in science? She's not the stupid person you guys make her out to be, right? So there is a judgment of everybody judging her, whether it is her husband, whether it is her mother-in-law, whether it is the Norwegian, whether it is whether it's a system that is just basically decided that, this person
Yeah.
cannot be a good mother. So there are various layers, and I think Asima, who wrote and directed the film, has really used the story to tell, because she also is, Barkha is a single mother, right? She chose to go, um, and she and Rani really somewhere or they bonded on what was so yes, for me that is, it's
Yeah.
that, it's the fight of a mother's fight for injustice. Also, it is at the end of the day, we have this. I mean, I'm going to use the opportunity to make a plug. Is hashtag Desh Ka Matter, right? Like you said in the beginning, you had Sushma Swaraj and Brinda Karat coming together, you know, to fight for Indians in another country.
Yeah.
I produced a film called Airlift, where Akshay Kumar in the pre-interval scene says कि आदमी की फितरत यही होती है, जब जब उसे चोट लगती है तो वो पहले बार माँ ही चलाता है, you know.
Yeah.
And that is what for me is really, so it's a very patriotic story. There's a scene in the film where Rani goes and walks into the press conference, and the man tries to shut her up, says that ये personal matter, and she says नहीं, ये देश का matter है. What if in India two white children were picked up
Yeah.
from a white couple, right,
Yeah.
and taken away? It would
Yeah.
become an international incident. It would
Yeah.
become an international incident. And I have to, I mean, yes, you guys did everything that was required in 2011 and 2012 to make this into to make this into a big story. Obviously, I mean, Sushma Swaraj and Brinda Karan would not have done what they did if the media had not really rallied around Sagarika, you know. So it, like Rani said, but it still missed the so-called
The larger.
mainstream, the larger noise that was possibly being happening at that time. So
Yeah.
I think that it is the Desh ka matter. I think it's the mother's justice, and I think it is about women. Strong. It's a strong woman's story. So these are
Of
the things that
course.
actually drew us. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a multi-layered story. I have just a minute left. I'll before I give the last word to Rani Sagarika, आपसे पूछना चाहूंगी, जब वो सारी judgments आपके दरवाजे पर लाई गई, when all of those judgments were laid at your door, you're emotionally not stable, you're mentally not stable, आपके बारे में तरह तरह की चीजें कही गई, you were invalidated, right? You were not treated as someone who knew what she was doing. Where did you draw that strength from? वो जो ताकत अंदर की ताकत थी, वो कहाँ से आई?
Actually, on that moment, I thought that I am very much in distressed situation on that time. So my mother told me that you just pray to God, you get you will get enough power to the from the God. So every day मैंने गॉड को ऐसे प्रे करती थी, भगवान मुझे ताकत दे दो. तो उसी ताकत से मैं, पता नहीं है क्या आया था मेरे अंदर में, जो पावर मेरे अंदर में आया था, तो उसी हिसाब से जैसे मैंने मेरा जैसे सिचुएशन आया, वैसे ही मैंने टैकल किया है. सो वही चीज़ है.
Rani, I'll give you the last word. When you met Sagarika, when you know this has all actually happened. What does this film say to you? Of course, it's about cultural clashes. Ki haath se khilaya, bistre pe so gaye. Things that Indians take for granted in all of our homes. We've all been brought up like that. But beyond that, I agree with Nikhil. This is about a woman fighting the system, fighting multiple systems, fighting the patriarchy of a marriage, fighting the racism of another country, fighting the judgment of society, fighting everybody who's treated as invisible, doesn't even look at her as someone who can stand on her own two feet. She's still out there fighting. She's still being a single mom. Her kids are, with her parents in Kolkata. Her fight hasn't ended. I just want you, as a sort of leading face of the film industry, a strong woman who can sit there today and say they dare not judge me, to have the last word. What is this really about, this story for you?
I think for me, the story is really about a mother's love for her children, for her child. I think Sagarika could not express exactly where the strength came for her during the fight. I think it's the love that she had for her children, and to fight back, like win her children back. That's where the strength came from, as to what I understand her journey. And that's the love, and that's what I channeled in my journey through this character. Because what I personally feel is that the reason why I wanted to attach myself to this project was because it is a story about human resilience, about how a human can fight against all odds when the person is pushed to a corner, and especially a woman who, as you said, rightly said, is not given a chance in society to stand up and say that, hey, I also exist,
Yeah.
and hear me, and don't take me for granted, because every mother at the end of the day is being taken for granted on a day to day basis. This happened on a larger level where she was taken for granted, and shown the door, saying that you're going to lose this battle because you're all alone out there, and we are the forces that are going to dominate. So she proved it, because that's the mother's love that won. Because you can't fight when a mother becomes a tigress. You can't fight that mom. So that is one thing. And for me to give my name to a project like this, I wanted this story to be told, because I think it's a great story to be told. It's also a story that will create a lot of awareness amongst Indians who are thinking of settling abroad, because there are certain rules and regulations that come in when you bring up your children and when you're working there, that sometimes it goes unnoticed by people.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people go as bachelors, and then they get married, and then they have children. So they don't know what happens. So I think that with this film, if this film is viewed by a larger section of the audience, it'll create an awareness which might not have happened at the time when the story had actually broken out in the media.
Yeah.
And also create awareness that, guys, this is the reality. This is happening even today.
Yeah, it is.
And we need to open our eyes towards cases like this, and we need to be aware about our rights.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to give my voice to this film. I wanted to give myself to this beautiful story and this powerful story of a mother who fights to bring back her children, because I connected to the strength. I connected as a Bengali. I connected as a Bengali mother. I connected to Sagarika's innocence, and I connected to her resilience as a mother, that she didn't give up the fight. In spite of her being pushed to a corner, she didn't give up the fight. And that is what I salute as a woman, that she didn't give up. And I love you, Sagarika, for that, because I'm meeting you for the first time. I love you for who you are, and I love you for being you. And I love you for being an inspiration to so many of us. And that I feel everybody in this world should watch. Forget India. World over, people should watch this movie to see what you went through.
Absolutely, it's a powerful movie, and it's so powerful because it all actually happened. The living embodiment of that is sitting on your screen right now, and Rani has essayed her brilliantly. Nikhil, thank you for bringing this to our screens. Everybody, do go and watch Mrs Chatterjee versus Norway, one woman's fight against actually a global order, but also multiple layers of patriarchy. But as Rani said, women discover strength they don't even have when it comes to, it's primordial. It's almost primordial. You try and separate a woman from her kids, and she will just stand there like, exemplifying the power of one. Thank you very much, Sagrika, Rani, and Nikhil, for talking to us and to our audience. Do go and watch this film. You will not regret it. Thank you. And sorry, Rani, you're trying to say something. Let's just unmute Rani, please. And give her
17th March.
17th March. 17th March, this Friday. Do please go and watch the film. Take care, Rani. I know you have a screening. We'll let you get back to that. Sagrika, more power to you. And Nikhil, thank you. Thank you very much, all of you. Bye. Take care.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.